They're remaking Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. You can't do that. And now they're making Ghostbusters with only women. What's going on?
Authorities in Nevada are warning of dangerous driving conditions because swarms of giant bugs called Mormon crickets are leading to slick roads.
Yeah, so here's why. Cars run over those crickets, and then there's been recent rainfall that creates a so-called sludge on the roads, which has led to 2 crashes of semi-trucks, according to the Eureka County Sheriff's Office. No serious injuries, though, were reported from those crashes.
Joining us now is Nevada State entomologist Jeff Knight. Jeff, good to have you with us to help us better understand what's going on here. We should be clear, these Mormon crickets don't actually harm humans directly, but the Department of Agriculture there in Nevada says they do pose several risks. So what are they? What should folks know?
Well, thank you for having me on. They're a native insect that we have regular outbreaks of throughout the Intermountain West, not just in Nevada. We try and survey for them, keep records of them, but they're an insect that is part of living in the Intermountain West. They can cause damage to crops and to rangeland forage. And then, of course, as they get on roads and stuff, they can definitely cause a problem. They're omnivores, so they eat anything, and these numbers can build up on the highways. And especially when we get a summer thunderstorm, that comes along, and the crickets will definitely cause the roads to be slick.
Apologies to our viewers for these horrible images so early in the morning. We're showing some close-ups of some of those swarms, Jeff. I'm not sure if you can see. You actually, I understand, you told NBC News last year after similar swarms of these Mormon crickets made national headlines that these outbreaks can last up to 6 years. Tell us why these bugs behave this way and why it is that we're seeing like such an issue with them now that it's even causing car crashes.
Well, we've had these outbreaks occur roughly about every 10 years. We think it's probably drought related. This outbreak started about 2019, 2020. So we're getting into the 5th or 6th year of it. And that's about how long they usually last. We had an outbreak back in the early 2000s. We had the same thing going on there with causing problems on the roads and having accidents. One of the problems is this cricket, once it gets larger, especially, can move up to 1 mile a day. So as they're moving, when they encounter a road, they, of course, try and cross it, or they may build up a little bit there on the roads, and we can see these problems created. But in moving that fast, you can go down the highway and it'd be absolutely no crickets there. Come back in a couple hours and the road can be covered with crickets. So it's a very hard thing to manage. And we encourage people to let us know so that we can do the things that we can take care of.
All right. Jeff Knight, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Good luck with this. Appreciate your time.
A brave man dealing with those. Thank you very much.
No, I don't know, though. I'm scared. I mean, you're so
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Over 19 fire alarm. I'm good.
Over 19.
Over 19 on the air collecting.
Over 19's on the air collecting.
All right, take him.
Drag more, Jake.
I'm full.
Hang on. You tell us to hold? Yeah, hold. Jake.
I can fully.
That's right. Here.
Go ahead.
Here, no, that's too like Chuck. We'll give this to Chuck. Hold what you got. Hold.
Can we get a hold of that?
Can we get a hold of that?
You got five full?
Yeah.
You got one more good full? I don't. Hang on.
I could probably back to this rope a little bit more.
You flip that up?
We got this.
Yeah.
Chuck got it.
Mongo says hurry up.
How's his butt look in that harness?
He's all right. I got him tied with some webbing.
Chuck?
Yep. Don't hang out too long.
No. All right, go ahead.
Don't hang out too long.
Go ahead. Go ahead, grab him. Hold.
Slack on white.
Get him over the edge.
Hold on. Got it? Let me slack on black. Slack on black first.
Hang on, Jake. Hold on. Don't worry about me. Black on black. Oh, I'm gonna get it. Just twist it up. Yeah, I did a lot of time. No, the ropes. Oh, I got it. That's what you're saying.
There you go.
This is the incredible body cam video from Sergeant Todd Dolan of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department on Tuesday afternoon. He was driving in Hacklebarney Woods Park in Villisca, Iowa, when a tornado roared through. Watch and listen as the trees bend, winds whip, and the sergeant pretty much takes cover in his car. Now, Sergeant Dolan is back on duty and talking about his frightening experience.
At what point did you think, you know what, I really need to stay in my patrol car and my vehicle just to protect my own life?
When the tree went down in front of me, and it wasn't a big tree, and it was just the top of the tree that hit my vehicle, so that wasn't detrimental that I couldn't have gone through or around or anything, but it was at that point I knew I wasn't going to get out of my vehicle.
Sergeant Dolan had driven to the campground to alert about a half dozen campers that severe weather was coming. He wanted to get them to a brick shower house on the grounds to stay safe. The sergeant says as the tornado moved in, it was clear he was not going to make it to the campers or even get himself to the safe house, but he did not panic.
I put the vehicle in park, my foot on the brake, and grabbed the steering wheel and was, I kind of relate it to like a amusement park ride where you're anticipating what's going to happen.
Amazingly, he not only survived, Sergeant Dolan escaped unharmed. So did all the campers. A look around Villisca shows the massive havoc and damage the tornado caused.
Almost 48 hours after, or close to it, 2 days later, what are your thoughts on how harrowing the experience was?
Honestly, to be honest, I was trying to get to the park, make sure everybody was out, and I was trying to get the heck out of there too. I just ran out of time.
Dolan has been in law enforcement for 30 years. He's grateful that he and others made it out safely. But in his words, it's been a very eventful spring in Southwest Iowa.
너무 소름 끼치고 무섭더라고요. 그게 만약에 진짜 오물이 아닌 무슨 바이러스라든지 어떤 화학물이라든지 그런 게 떨어졌으면 저희는 어떻게 됐을까 하는 순간
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually.
This is a driver while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is turning himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today.
Ann Arbor District Judge Cedric Simpson stunned by the actions of defendant Corey Harris and revoked his bond.
Undercooked bear meat left an American family infected with muscle worms after a hunting trip to Saskatchewan. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 9 family members from 3 states, Arizona, Minnesota, and South Dakota, had attended a family gathering where they shared kebabs of black bear meat that had been harvested by one of the family members in northern Saskatchewan. So what went wrong? The meat was infected with Trichinella larvae. It's a muscle-dwelling roundworm.
It's unfortunate but unsurprising.
Trichinella is commonly found in bears and other wildlife. Cooking the meat at a high heat can kill the larvae, but
bear meat is really good meat. It's often dark purple in color. And so if you're not used to cooking bear meat, it can be hard to judge when it's done or not done.
That's exactly what the report says. The meat was undercooked, but also the family believed freezing the bear meat would kill off the parasites. It doesn't.
Freezing just shouldn't be considered a reliable way to kill parasites in bear meat. The only way to be sure that bear meat is safe to consume is to cook it very, very thoroughly. And really, the way to be absolutely sure is test the interior temperature with a meat thermometer.
I spoke to an expert who says this disease pops up every couple of years associated with bear meat, usually with tourists. She says indigenous people who harvest wild animals know that the meat has to be cooked well.
We've had massive outbreaks in France, for example, associated with bear meat from Canada, again, just because people didn't necessarily have that protective knowledge.
Common symptoms include muscle aches and fever, but the larvae could travel through the body and even end up in the eyes or brain.
It loves muscle, and so it often ends up in skeletal muscle, like your arms and legs. But where it really shows severe problems is if it gets in the heart. It can cause cardiac disease.
Luckily, in this case, the family got the medical help before it could get that bad.
Well, Nicole, picture this. You're in a plane, you're in the sky, you're flying above a body of water, and all of a sudden the pilot announces on the intercom system, flight attendants prepare for an emergency water landing. Well, as you can imagine, this left passengers frightened.
We were scared, like we were traumatized.
It was supposed to be a quick flight from Montego Bay, Jamaica to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport Sunday afternoon.
The flight started off as normal.
Passenger Bettina Rogers filmed the takeoff from her window seat in Montego Bay. Then, as they were over water, the pilot announces,
"We're going to do an emergency landing. We're just going to turn back around and allow the mechanics to check this out so that we can successfully fly to Fort Lauderdale."
Then passengers heard another announcement that created fear.
Flight attendants prepare for emergency water landing. When he said that, everyone on the plane got frantic. In the moment, I'm shaking, and I had a whole bunch of problems as well as some of the other guests trying to get that life jacket from underneath the seat.
Despite the water landing announcement, the pilot was able to safely land on the tarmac in Montego Bay. Spirit issuing the statement reading in part, Spirit Airlines Flight 270 returned to Montego Bay on May 26th out of an abundance of caution following a suspected mechanical issue. The plane landed safely at Montego Bay and taxied to the terminal where guests deplaned under normal procedures. Safety is our top priority and the aircraft will be thoroughly evaluated by our maintenance team.
I feel like, this will be something that's going to stick with me forever, for the rest of my life.
And Bettina tells us that Spirit Airlines did their best given the circumstances. They did issue a flight credit and a food voucher. That flight eventually made it here to Fort Lauderdale the same day, just later on Sunday at 11:30 at night.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 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 retard.
This has been a 2024 Little Terry Having a Nap production.